Hi, we are homosapiens.
Do you masturbate?
Please be gentlemanly in your talk.
Okay, sorry. Dear Virgin Sir, do you pleasure yourself? And if you do, may I inquire how often?
Hi, we are homosapiens. I am Alpha from planet Earth. He is Beta from the parallel Earth. And today's short story is Saadat Hasan Manto's Boo, an Urdu word meaning order, as in body order. And this story is his choice. Why this story?
After our last short story, Death of Ivan Illich, with all the morbid talk about death, I needed to affirm a sense of life and vitality, and what better topic to do that than human sexuality?
Obviously, you lusty, lubricious, lascivious nature.
Thank you for the compliment, dear sir.
Stop mocking me.
Sorry.
Saadat Hasan Manto's short story Boo, meaning order, can be encapsulated in few words: a man, an upstart, and a social snob, mentally comparing two of his sexual encounters with two different women just because the surrounding of those encounters is similar. It is raining outside on both encounters, and the man finds one encounter better because of the body order of the woman. That's the whole story.
Why are you so dismissive? Story is set in pre-independent India during Second World War. Protagonist of the story, a man named Randhir, is a sexual libertine. He frequents brothels and likes Christian women in particular. But because of Second World War, all Christian women have joined auxiliary forces, and so he is bored and lonely, being unable to relieve himself sexually. By the description of this man, he comes across as a social snob. One evening, as it rains outside, he stands by his window and spots a girl standing under a tree to protect herself from the rain. The girl is a Khatan, meaning a girl from Western Ghats of India. The girl, presumably of a lower standing in social hierarchy, has been working in a nearby rope-making factory. Randhir beckons her to come up, and she does. Seeing she is soaked, he asks her to change into dry clothes. The girl construes this as a man propositioning her. She shyly removes her kasta, a loincloth, but her choli's knot is not coming undone. She asks for his help, and he pulls two ends apart, thus thrusting her breasts into his hands. Thus begins their encounter, which lasts the whole night, with only few words exchanged, and it ends in mutual pleasure and passion, but more passionate for Randhir because he finds himself more turned on due to girl's body odor emanating from different parts of her body, in spite of being sweaty, dirty, and hairy. This man clearly has superior ability to derive pleasure from olfactory sensations. The odor that the whole story revolves around is described as, quote, earth sprinkled with water, but not exactly like that. It is primary and timeless, like a relationship between a man and a woman, unquote. This is the first half of the story, which happens in the past, which this man recalls just because at the present moment he has similar encounter with his newlywed wife, but this encounter is a damp squib. The girl, a new bride, by description is portrayed as a higher social class, a daughter of a magistrate, fair, and kind of center of attraction of all boys in college. In short, supposedly a prize catch for the man. Yet he finds himself not as ignited in his passion as he did with that lower class, dirty, smelly Khatan. And that's it. That is the end of story. It is an Urdu story, but we read it in English, so perhaps some essence of story is lost in translation. And what I read, I found the writing pretty mediocre. Writing comes across as just a man's wishful thinking or fantasy fulfilling towards women. Copious description of female body, written aesthetically, but one does not escape a sense of prurience. Perhaps that was the objective of writer, evoking a sense of prurience in reader's mind. I'm not sure. This story does not speak about man's love for women, but about man's lust for women. And it is equally beautiful in my mind. I have observed both on my planet and on your planet as well that humans have tendency to celebrate love, and rightly so, because love elevates mind. But I believe lust is equally important for overall healthy growth of human mind. Sigmund Freud.
For me personally, there was nothing charming in this story. In fact, why should we be interested in the story of a social snob recording his sexual encounter with a lower class girl? Why should this story interest anybody? I did not object to morbid subject of disease and death the last time for your suggestion of Tolstoy's story. Why do you object to my suggestion of a story? The objective of our talk is to understand what it means to be human, Homo sapiens. Although I consider death and disease as morbid subjects, I do understand they are inescapable parts of human life. But so is human lust and human sexuality. Death is a serious topic that befits your temperament. But why do you object lust that befits my temperament? It is also an inescapable aspect of human life. One point of this story, which I consider should have been your commentary than mine, is an upper class man, a snob, as you describe, finds himself feeling more sexual passion towards a dirty, smelly, lower-class girl than his own wife, a woman of his own class and considered as a prize catch. This man gives up all his pretenses of sophistication and snobbery when he makes love to this dirty and smelly girl. Doesn't this tell something about social class structure being rigid and human sexuality not abiding by it? Usually this is your commentary, but you dismiss this story as not much serious and you miss this point. I think perhaps you're right. There's more merit to the story than I admit. Human sexuality is indeed very fluid. It does not fit in the rigid social structure. So what comes across as a sexual perversion in this story, a man being elated by his olfactory senses, is actually a sexual norm according to me. In fact, I believe individual sexuality always flourishes in such so-called perversions. It's the rigid social structure that wants individual sexuality to conform into particular socially accepted pattern that hinders sexual growth and causes all sorts of neuroses. In simple words, society expects a man to be a key and a woman to be a lock, and together they should unlock mutual pleasures and happiness for their lives. But sometimes two keys can be happy together, just like two locks can be happy together. And sometimes even a single key is happy, just polishing itself. So that's all for now. Bye. So how often do you polish your key? Shut up.